This is movie 23, which is going to be the eyebrows and eyelashes. And I have a folder which I've designated for this particular, hopefully, one of the final sections of this illustration. And let's zoom into the area that I'm going to work in. I placed in a little, above the clicky copy here, I placed in a little layer that I could utilize below there to just keep a visual of what's going on when I click off the clicky copy. But I'm going to click on the clicky copy and click to the first. I have these labeled as the first layer. I'm going to click on the first layer, which is dark, medium, and light. And then I have just eyebrows. I keep it going to 4 and 5 in case I need fixed layers, which I probably will. So I'm going to hit the R button, and let's rotate this to a comfortable area that I feel like painting in. So let's move this down and get a feel of which direction I want to paint in, which is pretty much that direction. So let's just work our way down and let's lay in the first value. Now it's important for you to realize that I hope, I'm close enough to the actual foundation colors in these areas right here where I need to paint in the eyebrows, and that I won't have to darken too much underneath because the area that's between my strokes is going to be, I think, too bright. But that's okay. I can actually just go in with a bigger layer underneath all of this. That underneath my eyebrows 5, I can make a new layer and just go. In fact, I'll put a new layer down there, and I'll just have it be for the behind color. I'll even label it the behind color. And I will click back up to the eyebrows dark layer. So I'm just going to anticipate. Now I'm going to, I never finished my sentence. I'm going to anticipate that I'm going to need that. So I have made a paintbrush. I've already put my Wacom tablet up to 100% on the flow, 100% on the opacity, right hand click, and I'm in a soft brush. And I'm going to hit the return key. And now let us zoom in as close as I need to get to that area right there, and just start painting my my strokes. So if I turn this off, let me put in a couple of strokes like this, just so you can see that I'm starting to bring in my nice strokes that I have there, and you can see right there that they're a pretty reasonable size. They're probably just a little bit too thick. So I'm going to hit Command A to select all and hit the delete key on that layer. Then I'm going to deselect so I can continue painting, and I'm going to toggle my brush down just a little bit smaller than that. So, and I don't have to press very hard. So I'm going to just click this on, and then we're going to just start drawing longer strokes than because remember, a layer mask will cut this out. So let's just start drawing in the longer strokes and just start laying all of this in. And just be very thankful that layer masking will actually be is something that Photoshop allows us to really have power over. So let's move this up, and it's going to take quite a few layers to paint this in. So strokes to paint this in, I'm sorry. So let's just keep it going, and then I'm gonna not back off of the value here, but on the layer mask, I'm going to be able to just play with the layer mask and get it to be the right depth of value, reduce the opacity by just painting black on the layer mask. So let me start getting these smaller hairs in here. Now, here's what I have so far. I'm starting to lay in all of these hairs, and I like the thickness that I had them in, and I like how I'm putting them in. And so what if it takes me a few more layers? I probably am going to have multiple dark layers because I don't feel like starting over. Now those hairs are going in a different direction, and I really want to be subtle with those hairs, but I've put this in an upper left to lower right direction just so I can start just so I can lay them in with a little bit more care and character. So I'm going to paint them like this, Okay, now let's see what I have so far. I'm starting to lay those in quite nicely. Okay, and what I really would like to do as well is to just keep on turning back and forth. But as I have eyebrows dark right here, I am going to double click that name and hit Command C. I'll make a new layer on top of it. Command V number 2. Probably going to need 2 more of those. I'll give it a layer mask already and a new layer and a Command V number 3 and hit the layer mask button, but click back to here, and I'll leave these not orange for now. I'll color them orange in a little bit, but let's just get over here and just continue to paint. So far I have that much on there, okay? And I'm going to designate the top of this, just keep it going, and maybe make the brush slightly bigger, but just keep it going. Just keep this whole rotation going. Let's move this up here, and let's make my brush smaller so I can designate the other area that I want to paint in right here. So let's hit the R button, and let's rotate this thing a little bit more like this, and the hand tool over like that, and hit the B key and get back into painting. So I actually want to rotate it a little bit more like this. So there we go. Now, this is what I've got going so far. I'm just laying in these light hairs. Let's rotate this around this way, Brian. Our B key. Now, that is pretty much the area that I want to work in. So I am going to move this over, and let's back off on this just a little bit. So I can see this on the screen with it. And let's move this around. Okay, and I'm going to click up to the eye dark eyebrow number 2 layer. Okay, so I can just start a little bit more painting here, and let's just leave it at this depth of dimension. Let's hit the B key and hold our brush down here, and let's just keep on going. You know what? I dropped a lighter value, and there's a danger of not looking at what you're painting. So in order to, I'm going to hit Command A to select all, and I'm going to delete those off of there. And I'm obviously going to click back to the color that I need to. So let me eyedrop out the color that is right here, making sure that's a red brown or a burnt. It's got a lot of color in it, dark. Okay, so let me move this up so I can see that. I am in this area, so let's just continue to paint, making sure I'm on the correct layer. So I'm continuing to paint. I'm continuing to lay in those strokes. And it's going to take a little while in order to build up to what I want, and then use layer masks to eliminate also what I think I've overdone. So let's just keep it going. So now let me just, I'm still painting on eyebrows 2, so let's move this up. All right, I'm going to give myself a little bit more, now utilizing, I realized I made a layer for the background. So what I want to do is, there's a couple of ways I can get value back here. All right, one of the kind of neat ways I can do it is to make a composite layer of what I've done here. And then, let me see if I have enough of it though. I probably do have enough. I don't have enough in this upper area right in here, so I'm just going to continue to lay in some of these strokes, and then I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then I'm going to, since they're in the right area, I want to widen them, and I want to, let's just get a little bit more in here, and then I want to Gaussian blur and lower the opacity on these layers by duplicating them and using duplicated layers of what I've already painted. And I want you to see what I'm talking about. So as I have this here, let me just get a little bit more going on right here. Now that I see that, that needs just a little bit more right in here. So I designate that, or paint that. I don't know why I say the word designate. Okay, just a little bit higher right here. Just feather that up. And now let's look at it. Not bad, a little bit more up in here. Okay, I just want you to see how cool this is. So let's take these two layers. I am going to color this one orange. And let's shift click on both of them. Now watch what I'm going to do there. Command Option E or Control Alt E is going to make a copy merged layer of what I've already done here. So I go Command Option E. I now have, if you see, look at how I have a copy merged layer. I didn't ruin the originals, but I'm going to move that one down here, and I'm going to call it blurred. So I'm going to take away the word merged, and I'm going to call it blurred, just so I know what the heck is going on. Now, with the other two layers off, I am going to blur that. So let's go to Filter, Blur, and do a Gaussian blur on that to a reasonable blur that gets rid of all the strokes. So look at how I can take that blurred area right there, go like that, add a layer mask to it, and then I can actually now lower the opacity. See, what I was looking for was the darkness behind the strokes. Now if I show those strokes on top, you can see how that looks just too filled in. So before I do anything, I actually want to lower the opacity on what I did. Now look at how that gives a body of value there. I will answer this phone, so hold on. Okay, thank you. I should be back. That was a phone call, as you probably knew. And so I want to take a little bit more of that opacity away. Let me make sure that was the blurred one. I don't see the word blurred there. Yes, I do. So let's remove that one right to about here. Now you can see how I've used the strokes that I created to add the depth of value behind my strokes. And now when I put those back on, I have less work to do, and that looks pretty nice. So let me turn this back on and show you that right in this area where I'm actually circling right here. I'll show you with a bigger brush. Okay, with this area right here, I actually went too far, well, which is why a layer mask is there. So I actually want to remove some of my hairs that are there, and we're going to do that by just being manipulative and picky on the Gaussian, on the layer masks. So I'm going to need to add layer masks to eyebrows dark 1, which I already did, and then I'm going to actually turn off. No, I guess I'll keep it on. But let's hit the R button and let's rotate this around. And remember, gosh, you have to remember that not everything is perfect, okay? Now, in this sense, I want to put my brush back down at about 8 on the flow, okay? So I'm just putting a little bit of paint onto the layer mask, and then I want to remove the hairs where I see fit. So I'm painting on the layer mask already, and you can see how these here are just too prominent, okay? So let's just start backing off on those, and let me see which layer those are actually on. So I need to click up to eyebrows 2, and let's just start painting those out on eyebrows 2 and just get a little bit more definitive with this. Okay, that was well done right there, and let's now look at that. Okay, now these need to back off in value a little bit right on the edge, almost to where they're just vignetting out. I like these hairs that are over here, and let's now just be kind of picky. All right, these need to back off here, and I'm going to need a few more layers, of course. So let's just kind of blend these hairs right into the skin and into a little bit more finessed resolve. I don't know how else to say it. So these are just a little bit too heavy. So let me just remove some of this stuff in here. Now in the blurred layer, oh, the blurred layer is perfect back there. So let's bring this back on. Okay, this is a little bit too intense here. So let's just back off on this value. There, that looks much better. And I am going to come on with the lighter hairs on top to give the highlights. And really, these are in such a dark area that there are not a lot of highlights in there. But I just want to bring off a few of the lighter hairs. And let me just back off on this. Let me back off and remove some of my dark hairs here. I want to see that dark hair that I put in here. That's too dark. So let me make the brush a little bigger, and let's just kind of melt that one into her skin here. And let's back off on that, and let's see how we've done so far. So I need to remove just a little bit more from here, so let's make the brush smaller. I'm going to turn off this layer to see what I've got. Okay, I've got plenty of area to back off on that, so I need to see both of them. So let's get both of them on the screen, the one on the bottom and the one on the top. And let's just start cutting some holes inside of here. Okay, I like what I'm doing. A little bit smaller brush. As I said, things don't look good until you're 75% completed. Do you see right here that we have kind of a miss and then there's a space between the hairs? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize this, and I'm just going to lay that in. I'll put this up at about 10, so I'm getting a little bit more flow on my brush, and I'm just going to remove that little hair right there and remove this. Now I'll turn off the clicky copy, and you can see how that's actually done a pretty good job. So let's just come in like that, and let's just come in like this. Let's just widen that back. Smaller brush, and then we're going to back off on the whole thing. Let me make a bigger brush and just kind of vignette that hair back in. And now if I turn off this, you can see how she's starting to get those eyebrows, and that's only one layer of eyebrow, okay? I think that actually looks pretty good. I think there's more hairs underneath her actual bangs, and I didn't bring it over farther. So I'm gonna have to click back to eye dark number 3, which doesn't even have anything on it. Let's color it orange. And then I'm gonna continue with the hairs here. I haven't even started with the medium hairs, and I don't even know if I'm gonna utilize the light hairs. So she has more little hairs in back of there, and I actually didn't put enough back there. So let's just take the brush. Let's put this back at 100% on the flow. Let's size the brush down really small. Let's make sure we're painting in dark in the same nice brown red, which was good. And let's make sure we're painting on this eye dark layer, which we are, and we can go for it now. So let's just grab this and let's just paint a little bit more value in here. So let's just turn this on, and I'm just going to lay in a few more of this, because these are actually little eyebrow hairs that are right on her face. I need to turn this slightly like this. There. And let's hit the B key again, and then we'll just give herself a little bit more of this hair. I can see that right here. I need to pick up more of these hairs as they work their way over to here. Now, I don't mind what I'm doing because I can always get rid of these from the layer mask point of view. So let's just lay them in here. Okay, that's definitely where that wanted to be. Keep on turning this off and on so I see where I am. Now, I don't want to make her look like she's got too much going on, so let's hit the R button. Let's rotate this back. Let's zoom out of this a little bit. Whoops. Let's zoom out of this just a little bit. And let me just put a little bit more here. I think I've come up too high with them. But thank gosh they have layer masks. I actually think I need to come up. See how her hair on her eyebrows on this side come up a little higher? I don't think I have enough right up in here, so I'm going to put some more right there, and then let's just pick this up a little bit. Remember, I'm on a whole new eyebrow layer. Let me turn this off. Okay, this needs to get just a little bit darker right there and get that nice little feel of that hair coming in here. Let me see if there's any more flyaway hairs. There is a little bit on her face. I could actually start putting in some of these on this side too. Oops, sorry. Let's go in this venue. Let's turn this down. And let me put in a little bit of these. I'm really going to use a layer mask on these. I obviously realize some of those are way too intense, but they're fine. Thank gosh they make layer masks. And I am going to utilize the other layers below for this same thing. So let's just hit the R button, flip it back around. Let us hit the B key. Let's turn off the clicky copy. Let us now back off on a few of these. So let's make the brush bigger. Let's put this at 10. Let's make the brush bigger. Make sure I have a layer mask. Look at how I'm taking those off. Now I'm clicking on the layer mask. So now I can reduce these to where they're almost disappearing. Don't be afraid if you go too far. You can always take white back. So let's just come in here and see what that's like. Let me put on that little item here and let's go up with it. Now I can see what I want is I want to just kind of just let these be not quite as apparent here. And I don't mind those back there. Those actually look good. And this side's starting to look good. These are just a little too prominent. Let's just reduce these. Look at how much control you have in the reduction of these. And I don't want to, she probably, when she gets older, will want to take these hairs away. So let's go here. This really should not even be here. This one should be gone. This should be just backed off. And now I can really begin that side in a few minutes. Let's just take the curse of this one away. There's really, I don't really have to go any more than that there. So let's back off on this. Let's save the file. Let's turn off this, which in a second it'll look good. And now let's look what she looks like without even any medium values going on. She is starting to look pretty good. So I am going to pause this and be back in a second. Okay, I am going to start on the medium hairs in this area right here. So I want to hit the R button and rotate this to my nice delivery position angle. And let's just put this right here so where we can kind of see them a little bit closer on my rotation angle. And let's hit the B key. Let's put this back at 100%. And let's toggle the brush smaller. And now let us see what we get. I've already chosen this color. I've already chosen this light brown color in here, and I want to hit the highlights on top of here. So let's just come in like this and just come into some of these hairs right here. See how, I really need to zoom into this. So see how, let me back off just a little bit. Okay, now see how this nice light brown, whoops, a little bit too big. Let me go down in size. Okay, see how this nice color right here just almost brings back the skin value and lets me actually do light hairs in that dark area, and it gives that a little bit more hair-like manner or appearance. Or let's just back off on this just a little bit. And let me rotate that back to here and put both of these on the screen together. And I actually like what's going on right here. I mean, I don't see a lot of changes that I have to make. I don't have the right yellowish tone here, but I do have the yellowish tone. But I'm gonna actually grab that light tone. So I'm gonna grab my eyedropper, and we're gonna grab this light tone right there. And I'm gonna come back inside of these hairs right here, and I'm gonna try to bring off some of that skin tone as that's behind the hairs. And it looks like it's skin tone, or it actually looks like it's just the highlight of the hair itself. And it just more, a little bit more gentle reality going on there. So let's just continue this, and we're going to go to the other side. And I actually like the way this is looking. Okay, and it didn't even take that long to do. So let me back off on this. Size. Let's rotate this back for the second to this reset view. Let's turn off the little clicky copy, and let's just toggle this on and off and see what we have. I'm not crazy about this side of her hair here. I kind of missed a little bit, so I'm going to have to go back. I'm not sure I'm going to do that on camera. I'm going to fix all these hairs here by bringing back the direction of them, and if I have to use another layer, I'll layer mask these hairs that I'm circling off, and I'll put some new ones on. It's okay with me. But I'm going to do the same thing on the eyelashes. As you can see, they need a lot of help. They need to just, you know, just get in there. So when you come back on screen for the next part of this, I am going to have both eyelashes and eyebrows done. Okay? Thanks. Hello everyone. I have the eyebrows and the eyelashes in. I'm going to zoom forward gently so we can see what I've done here. And here is what I've done. Here are the layers for the eyebrows and the eyelashes. And I'll remove the eyelashes right here so you can see that I have the eyelashes on I've done the left and the right eyelashes. For instance, I did the eyelashes right here on that layer right there on both sides, and so I'll remove all of them, and they're the yellow ones. And then I even have a little bit of the white texture underneath the eyes on this. I kind of did a little bit of more white texture. And I'm going to remove the eyebrows. So, and I even have the eyebrow on a dark shape there. That actually should be colored orange. So, just for my own organization. So I hope you have enjoyed this series of movies. I'll turn these on one by one so you can see that I actually took the strokes that you see over here on her right, our left. Let me hit the V key. And I duplicated the layer, and then I Gaussian blurred the strokes that you see to right there. Okay? And it helped because it gave it an immediate background of dark value. See how behind her eyebrows there is a dark value? Well, I put the strokes in, and then I just Gaussian blurred them. And I put that underneath. So I duplicated the layer as I said. So let me not put that in there and show you the strokes on both sides, and you can see how there just doesn't have enough value behind the strokes. So I'm going to put the value behind the strokes, which was, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but if you duplicate these layers, and like that layer right there, and you just Gaussian blur it, okay, and then you remove some of the opacity, you're going to achieve this on both sides. So now you can now the strokes look better. So you can see how I put the strokes in, and I have layer masks on every single one because I put the stroke in harsh, and then I just use the layer mask to make them soft and to thin them down on the edges. Now the eyelashes are the same way. I put the eyelashes in. Let's just zoom forward just a bit, just so you can get a pretty good feel of one of the sets of eyes. So I put the eyebrows in and the eyelashes, and I'll turn off the eyelash copy here, and you can see that I do have, I think I put it on this one, which was an undertone of just those whites. And the Wacom tablet is so incredible to use. I'm going to option click. For instance, I'm going to option click on the layer mask so you can see exactly how much tone. If you option or alt click, you can isolate the layer mask. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but it shows you exactly the power of what the layer mask can do. So my whole philosophy on painting is put it in there slightly bigger than you need, put it in there slightly darker than you need if it's a dark tone, and lighter than you need if it's a light tone, and then use a layer mask to just make it more believable, to use that for the finessing. I'm trying to get back to a point where we can see this. So I think she's done, and I've even added some of the flyaway hair. Let me put her on the screen so I can get most of her on the screen. So I just want to explain to you what I've done, and I've asked several people who really like this background as opposed to the sky background, but to each his own. So I'm going to close the eyebrow and eyelash area, and I'm going to go into the above hair, and you can see that I've added all of that above hair. Again, I know it's kind of far away on this YouTube video, but if I go like this and I turn off the above hair, it was all of those little flyaway hairs that really gave it the beauty. And I'm going to bring the path palette over so you can see that I have all of these bangs and flyaway hairs. So I'm going to make selections of them. Look at how I have that flyaway hair as that one over there. And then I want you to remember the power that you have. Remember how you can go to, if you wanted not to draw every one of these out, but if you wanted to go to select and transform selection, do you see how you can just move this one over and just turn it and rotate it so you can actually paint that one right there? And that's exactly how I did this one here. I just took the selection, I moved it over, I hit it, and I painted it. I mean, it's as easy as that. Do you have to draw every single thing out? Answer, no. Now, when you move a selection, you know that the original path was back where it was. So look at where I have all of these paths that I've drawn for the geometric beauty of those hairs, because I could never hand paint that, and even with a Wacom tablet, you couldn't. And it's I want to also say one thing. If the eye sees the top hairs as being geometrically beautiful, meaning no bumps and no awkward angles or changes, then it's going to believe that the rest of what's there is also got an inherent class to the line. I don't know how else to say it. A good drawing is never. You can't fake good drawing. You have to have good drawing. So good drawing means that these upper hairs give the whole thing the credibility. To the hand, I want you to look at that hand. I'll put the path over on my other screen. The path palette on the other screen. I'm going to close the ear. The ear was something I also just finished. Okay, it was just a real quick thing. There's no need to see that on screen. It's just 2 layers in the ear, or 3. So you can see the ear is just this, this, and this. I actually just put a blob of dark brown, and I just put a little freehand painting in there, and then that's the ear. Now I would like you to see what I did with the hand here, and let me back off on the hand, and you can see that to the I'm locating the hand arm layer. It's right there. Now I'm going to isolate out, or I'm going to right hand click and disable the layer mask. Look at how I knew that this was too harsh of a tone at the right hand side. It's actually the left hand side of her hand here, but I'm going to turn on the clicky copy, and you can see how it kind of vignettes in and darkens towards the edge. Well, all I did was not worry about that, and I added a layer mask. And what I did on the layer mask, and I'm going to Option or Alt click on it, is I put that dark tone on there to kill some of the painting on the edge, and it allowed that to just vignette behind the hair, to graduate behind the hair. So hope you've enjoyed this series of movies. They were intended to not be anything but a tutorial to show you how Photoshop can be an incredible rendering tool, but again, nothing replaces good drawing, and your ability to be an artist and to pull the techniques out of Photoshop that allow you to give the freedom and the spirit and the natural feel to all of your rendering, which is the key. If you want to be a profitable artist, and you want to be a commercial artist, and you want to be somebody who is going to use a digital medium but not make it look digital, it has to look natural, and that was my goal from the very beginning when I first began Photoshop. So you can go to Sauriol Illustrations, S-A-U-R-I-O-L, SauriolIllustrations.com. That's illustrations with an S. And you can also, like I said, you can Google Brian Sauriol, S-A-U-R-I-O-L, Brian with an I, and YouTube, and you'll get my YouTube channel with all of these movies on it. Take care, and I'll see you on the next illustration.